but this is a this is your P20 and this is your P200. And so, and the, on the very top, there's an H. I'm not used to seeing the H. The H is their series design, like they have an A and an H, so ignore the H. Most pipettes, I don't know if y'all can see my pipette here, they don't have a, they just have the range on the top. And so they're commonly called by their max number. So the smaller one will go to 20 microliters and the larger one will go to 200. So the common way to name these things is a P20 or a P200. So when you dial them up in the windows, the big question is, why are they the same? So you have your P20, when you dial your P20 up, it's going to be for 20, it's going to be 200. And for your P200, it's 200. So does anybody want to explain or have an idea? So this one will go to 200 microliters, the bigger one, and the smaller one will go to 20. And y'all see your display windows, right? And I think when they shipped them to you, they were on max. Do y'all see they're on max? Like I think your P20 said 200 and your P200 said 200. Is that right? That's the way mine were. And they also, when they ship them to you, I dialed mine down because I'm all about pipette safety. You know, like there's a couple things in a tornado drill I want kids to cover, and it's my oil immersion microscopes and my pipettes, and they think I'm kidding, but I'm not. This stuff's expensive. But I dial mine down, so the higher it's dialed up, the higher you can see the, so mine were dialed really high when I got them. They were maxed out. And I don't let kids leave pipettes maxed out because they're stretched all the way to the limit. Anyway, do y'all see your display windows and they're the same? We good on that? Your top, on the P20, your top number is the 10 spot, the middle number is the 1 spot, and then the last number will be your decimal. On the P200, the top number is your 100 spot, the middle number is your 10 spot, and then the last one is your whole, you know, like 1 to 10, less than 10. Your one place, that's it. All right. So that's the first thing. So I had like this little activity with y'all where I screenshotted some things to see if you could tell me what the answers were. So if this is a P20, we're looking at P20. Let me get on my P20, and the max is 20. What would the first one be? 100. Anybody got a guess?
10.
10. Y'all have done this before. What's the next one?
13.4.
There we go. So I'm gonna click for some answers. I think we got some advanced students in here. Oh, go. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna keep clicking. All right, and so, and then the last one's 5.5, and then 15.
15.
Yep. All right, next one. Now I'm switching. I'm on the P20. I'm at the, not P20, I'm at the P200 slide, but I use the exact same numbers. I didn't change it. And I'll do this kind of stuff for my kids because I think kids need to see the patterns for things. So the first one, if this is the P200, anybody got a guess? That doesn't.
100.
100. And then the next one's
134.
134. All right, so I'm gonna click answers here. The difference with these guys is if you want to get a decimal, you've got to move it in between on those little hash marks. In between, the little hash marks will give you the decimal point if that's what you want. So if you want 134.3, and you'll rotate to the 3. And then you'll have in your lab notebook that I have somewhere, you have some rules about keeping pipettes safe. And the biggest one is you don't lay pipettes down. I have mine on a rack. So I've got different kinds of racks in the room, but you leave pipettes vertical. And the other thing that the kids love to do is they like to sit here and just hit the button. You can't do that. You're going to wear out that spring in there. They have a lifetime. And then, and I think the other one was changing tips, but those are your little pipette safety things. All right.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Is there a gross adjustment, or is there just one way to adjust? And
Oh,
that would
yeah.
be,
I skipped that. I'm sorry. Right here in the center of your pipette is your adjustments. It's a dial up and a dial down. Did that answer your question?
well, it looks like in the P2, you're changing it by one at a time. With the
Yes, that's
P20, you're changing it by a tenth at a time. There's no way to change it
nope. You got to
faster.
you got to go all the way up or down. So it's dialing up or dialing down. And
Okay.
depending on the max volumes, it will you're going to be dialing in different 10 spots. And the kids do mix this up. So when I'm teaching this, like I call it the P20, and we'll say, what's the max on this 20? And that's the reason on my first slide, I'm teaching you all the way I would teach the kids, like this is the max. So I always tell them to think about what's in the max window when they're dialing up. I know that wasn't your question, but I forgot to say that. And that helps my kids when they're trying to remember which is the 10 spot and which is the 100 spot. I say, check the top. If this is a P200, the top's going to be the 100 spot. So it's real important to get the kids to start doing this and checking before they dial, because they do look exactly the same in the display windows, except for this P20 has a decimal place looking. I will tell you, not all of them look like that. That's not standard. Some of them have
The tenths are not always blue.
No, mine are red, and some of them don't have a 10 spot, a tenth spot, a decimal spot. And these pipettes don't lock. Some pipettes have a lock so that if you set a measurement, you can lock it in. But these are more economical pipettes. But I would be very careful with them sitting here just pushing their thumbs, because I do think that would wear it out pretty quick. It's a spring inside. The other thing I'm not afraid to do, and you don't be afraid either, is when these things explode, and they will explode because those kids are like Hercules, you can pop them back together, and there's usually internet, YouTube on how to do that. And I'll get the kids to put them back together. So I know we're off topic, sorry. All right, so if you get your pipettes, there's two. So if you just start pushing on it, you're going to feel a first stop, and then you're going to feel a second stop. And the second stop takes a little bit more to get to. So when you hold your pipettes, you're supposed to hold, this part is for the rest of your hand, and then your thumb goes here. So first stop, and then you have a second stop. Did everybody feel the stops on their pipette? The little button you have on the side is the ejector button, which you'll get to use in a minute. And that's also a lot of fun. The kids sometimes get carried away with the ejector buttons. And you can watch the shaft will go down as you hit the ejector button, and it just pushes a tip off. So that's what that's going to do. And that's what pops off most of the time. It will pop off in there, and you can usually connect them back. I've never taken one of these apart though before, but I bet you can.
What did you mean when you said they explode? Is that the word you used?
Yeah, that's not a good word, I know, but if they fall apart for use for kids, but this sometimes come off, the shafts will come off. Pieces,
Okay.
You're just dealing with kids doing stuff, and I'm not afraid to put stuff in kids' hands to break it. It's I mean, I go over the rules and I tell them if you sit here and push on it, you're going to bust the spring. And then the shaft button, or this is the shaft of the pipette. The ejector button sometimes is the one I have come off the most. This will disconnect, but usually you can just stick it back in there. Oh, y'all good on first stop and second stop? Can you feel them? All right, we're going to talk about what they do next. The first stop draws up your liquid. That's what that's for. And y'all going to practice this in just a second. But the first stop is where you need to go most of the time. And a lot of kids will go to second stop, but first stop is when you're going to suck up a liquid. Second stop is when you're going to dispense the liquid. And I call it blowout in my class, like, and they feel it, like it blows out the whatever is in the pipette tip. And y'all should have had boxes of tips. I got two different kinds. I got a yellow kind and a blue kind. Where my yellow kind went. But when you pull out your tips, my yellow ones had a piece of white cotton in here, and my blue ones are just clear. Did y'all get the same thing that I got?
Yeah, everybody got the same yellow filtered 20 tip.
So if you'll look at your tips, oh, here's my yellow ones. They have a piece of cotton in here, and that's to help from you losing any sample or contaminating any sample. It's like a filter, like what Megan just said, it's a filter in there. These usually cost a little bit more, but there's a purpose for the tip. Like when you're doing DNA or RNA, a lot of times you want the filter in there. And you also, when you're pulling and drawing things up, small particles can go up into the pipette. So these are good if you're using something contagious or icky. But the cheaper ones don't have the filter, and for colored water, I think you are fine to use the one that came in the blue box with no filter inside.
Well, not everybody got an unfiltered 200. So some people have the filtered 200s. Because this is what was available. We are currently in a pandemic, so we have gotten what was available from the stores.
Yep. So, but these are going to work just fine. But I just want you to know what the cotton's for. So with colored water, you don't need the cotton, but if cotton's all you've got, then you can use the cotton. Oh, and I see something is in the chat. Is that right? Or no? All right.
You're good.
All right, so
also, if they don't have cotton, you can reuse them. Just rinse and reuse.
Yes, that is what I have over here. If I use colored water, I rinse and reuse these, and I store them, and it says colored water, and I have bags of these that say colored water. And I never throw away one of these trays ever, because I will refill the trays, and it's cheaper to order the pipettes in a bag. Like when they ship them, and that's my pipettes are back here. It's cheaper when you don't get the box, but the first time if you get a couple boxes, then you just refill your boxes and then you can order tips. And I'll be honest with you, most of the things that we use in high school don't need the sterile tips. All the time to keep them sterile just for practice and to close their boxes. But for most things you're going to do in class, the sterile is not going to influence your lab. Even the DNA, RNA labs that I do, the non-sterile tips do not seem to contaminate or ruin any results. Okay, so when you stab, and it's literally stab, you're just going to open your box and you're going to stab a tip on. And you put it on securely. You can also put the tip on with your hands if you want to, but I like to stab into the box. So if y'all want to put a tip on your pipette, and then you can aim at me and fire. There you go. There you go, Jenna.
I call it tapping into the box.
Oh, Megan calls it tapping.
Some people stab too hard.
That's true. You can see a lot about their personalities, like, kids are cute. Okay, so now you've got first stop and second stop, and first stop is to draw up the liquid. Second stop is to dispense the liquid, and you're good, hopefully, on your display windows. Okay, so now it's time to use your pipette. So you were given a practice pipette card. Here's mine. And you have set up some colored water somewhere. And you're going to dial up a 2, a 5, a 10, a 15, and a 20. So you're going to use your P20.
Isn't there some way to mess these up? I just remember doing this last year.
The number one thing you can do to mess it up is not use protection, a tip. We would never want to get colored water into the body of our pipette.
I remember, I think it was Dr. Peterson I had last time. I remember we he said something about twisting it too high or something, it would mess them up. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I called over dialed.
Okay.
When your pipette arrived, it was probably this was very high because it was at its max. It was at 20. And I can look from across the room and tell that kid, you've got that pipette over dialed. The higher this gets. And the problem is this thing will dial up to 50, but just because the display window says 50, you're maxing out that spring and those internal parts. So that's why we spend a lot of time, like hold up your P20, hold up your P10, hold up your P200. Like I train my kids hard to look at this top, almost to the point of annoyance. And I go around the room a lot and check, but yeah, an over dialed will kill this thing. Does that help?
Yes, I just remembered something, but I wasn't sure what it was. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna dial 2, and then y'all can dial 2 on your P, so get your P20, and I'm gonna dial in my 2, and I'll put my display window up for you guys to see. And yep, I'm just dialing away. I'm dialing down. So now I'm at 2. So 2 is 0, 2, 0. Now I know that because it's a P20, so the max of the window would be 2, 0, 0. So if I was in the 10 spot, it would be up here. And then I'm just going to get some color and stick it on my card. I'll go to my other camera. I did a terrible job. I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't think you can see that.
Kinda.
Is that better? No?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I'll work on this camera thing, Megan.
I know.
Now a knockoff for this, and teachers are always looking for knockoffs. I really like this little card. I've never had the card. What I've done is wax paper and get the kids to do the dots in order, and then I walk around the room and look, and your dots should be in incremental increases. 2 microliters should be pretty small, and 20 microliters should be pretty large. So you can do, if you don't have the cards, the other thing you could do is you could take these cards to the copy machine. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to laminate them, and I'm going to have plenty of cards from this one card.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I do like these cards. And what I've done in the past is wax paper or parafilm and kids pipette onto that wax paper. If you pipette onto paper, like notebook paper or lab notebook paper or filters, you can't really see the size. You do need that lamination surface so that kids can, so it bubbles up. So this is just a fun way to check. It's also a fun way to walk around and check dials for the first time, let kids dial up pipettes. Okay, are y'all good on that pipetting? Because you've got a bigger pipetting job. Does anybody have any questions about pipette card? Y'all good? Okay, so I'll be making some more pipette cards. I'm gonna have to go to a color copier, and that's in the library. So anyway, all right, moving. Oh, okay. Now in your box, I think y'all got some disposable pipettes, because you know, it's nice that you have this, but you might not have a class set of this. So the activity that you're going to do in a minute, you can actually do the activity with these guys.
Those are the 3. They're the 3 milliliter ones, so they may not.
Oh, they have 3 mils?
Yeah.
I didn't even check, Megan. Well, sorry, maybe not. The 1 mils are pretty standard. Like I think y'all, if you went and looked in your science lab, I bet you've got the 1 mil pipettes everywhere. Pipettes come in all kinds of sizes. I've got little ones over here. I've got tons of pipettes. And if you get in touch with Megan, a lot of times this is the kind of stuff that sometimes she can get for you pretty easy. I don't even know where my large ones are, but I got some big ones. And I hand drew this, and this is I make kids put this in their lab notebook. Like if we're doing a pipette in lab, And I just literally draw a line on the board and I put a ring on the end, and we get this out and we do the little conversions with it. Like 1 milliliter is 1,000 microliters. So you can do what the lab we're about to do with a 1 ml pipette. So you have these in your notebooks. They're also online. This worksheet is in your notebook. And you were sent a well plate. Oh, my well plate's over here. You were sent a well plate. When you look on the well plate, it's like playing bingo. I've got down on the side A, B, C, D, E, F, and then on the top I've got 1, 2, 3 going across. So you got your colors, and then you're going to put in the amount in the hole. And that's the game. So if y'all want to start pipetting, and you'll see on this chart, there's some conversions. And I already have the answers done. They're behind me. I had a lab tech pipette these for me today and yesterday. So I'm going to show you the answers. So if you want to just start playing with your pipettes and filling in your well plates, and then we can do some introductions too, because I feel like I've been talking to make sure y'all got to your lab activity, because it's 5:30, so we're doing good. We're doing real good. Does anybody have any questions about how they could get started on pipetting in their well plate? Are y'all going pipette? Or is it no? I see Valerie said no.
Oh, I'm trying to do it, but I've never used this before. So,
Yeah.
So when I'm practicing over here with my little card, so I have my little water, and so I press down. I put this in here first, and then I press it down part of the way, and then all the way while it's still in the water, right?
Nope. Nope.
No?
You just go to first stop.
Okay.
To get your liquid.
Oh.
Do that before you go into the liquid. So push it to first stop, put it
Okay.
down in the liquid,
Okay.
and then release it.
Oh,
while
okay.
it's in the liquid, and then pick it up, and then move it over
Oh,
and push it to second stop.
Y'all might
Very-
just want to try. Y'all might just want to try that.
that's what I needed to know. Okay.
Yeah. So so we, especially when we're dealing with small samples that are in centrifuge tubes,
Mm-hmm.
we never want to push. We never want to blow air in there, as minuscule as it is. So we always go to we dial,
Mm-hmm.
and then we push to first stop,
Okay.
and then we go in and release. And I think I forgot to say release.
Okay.
I'm
So
sorry.
first stop, then in the water, then release.
Yep.
Then you take it out. Then you put it on your dot.
Yep, and then push it to the second,
Aha.
Yep.
all the way.
Mine doesn't look as big as the dot's supposed to be.
Yeah, mine looks like that too. It's not quite as big as the dot.
Maybe because of surface tension.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think Elizabeth did either.
And I don't know how to scale that card is. It's the first time I've used the card, but if you want to just do general inspection with your kids and just get them to dial different increments and look at the dots, the idea is kind of the kids figure out that 2 microliters is pretty small. And then when you get to P200, goodness, if you did a 200, they're going to really kind of understand. And when they're looking at the barrels too, I always get the kids to look at the barrels. And you can see the P200 is a lot wider than the slimmer. So, sometimes we just do general inspection, like which one do you think you would use for a large amount? And they're like, the big one. I'm like, yeah. Now let's look at the numbers. Which one has the bigger number? Just these sort of leading things. So I'm sorry I didn't do you just press to the first, but hopefully even everybody, if you're not going to pipette, maybe you get some colored water and just go to the first. Stick it in, release, and then you get your liquid. And then when you dispense, you go to the second one. And then, of course, you could eject your tip and change your tips. But while y'all are doing that, can y'all kind of tell me your teaching experience, or if you're virtual or face-to-face?
My name's
wanna
Kristen
share?
Howell. Should I go?
Yeah, I'm going to put you on. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, Okay.
I feel like I'm talking over somebody. I couldn't tell if we all were. I'm Kristen Howell. I'm at West Jackson Middle School, 7th grade science, and I have been here 20-something years. All but one of it 7th grade life science. I did do 1 year in high school, but they were not as fun as the 7th graders. So I came back because I really do like to have fun. So I'm just excited about this. Just anything new that I can learn to use, I'll do it. So that's always my story.
I think 7th graders would love pipetting, and I'm going to show you some other options too that are a little bit quicker. I will say this takes a long time. If you want to keep kids busy, this is all period.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll show you the answer in a second, but then I can also show you some shorter pipetting activities that are fun.
Well, and
So-
another note on that, the wells on that thing are exactly 350 microliters. So, and all of those add up to 350. So you'll know if they're pushing to the second stop the first time because their wells will overflow.
Yep. And I'll tell you, when I grade these, you have to show me your well, and and then I quickly dump it out at the sink and rinse it out so that the plates are not passed, because it's just colored water. So, because the plan is that so-and-so is going to get it done, and then I'm going to see that plate all day. But no, I rinse them quick. And that does, the water will hold in this. I'll tell you, that does mess me up. Sometimes they do overflow because they're wet from where I cleaned it the prior period.
Shake it really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who'd like to, and did you say
Kristen,
Kristen?
right?
I'm Kristen. Yeah.
Kristen? Okay.
Mhm.
Nice to meet you, Kristen.
Thank you. You too.
I saw you pipette, Valerie. You went and pipetted. So you go next.
Unmute. Valerie, you're on mute.
Okay, I am Valerie Aegis. I'm a retired 30-year teacher working for GYSTC. And I spent most of my last, 12, 13 years teaching physical science. So I haven't taught life science in, I know, 20 years.
Okay. Well, you will like the activity that we do on the third meeting, because it is a lot of physical science, the third meeting. Today is a general, how to use a pipette, and but yeah, you're gonna like the third meeting, I think, Valerie. I'm just gonna start calling on you. I'm gonna be that mean teacher. I see you, Will. You've grown a beard since the last time I saw you.
Yeah, I did. This is a
It looks
COVID
good. It looks good.
Right. Yeah, I'm Will Dodd. I've taught middle school for, I've lost track of how much, but I did pretty much 6th, 7th, 8th, did a little bit of 5th grade in there too. Did a little bit of robotics and engineering in there as well.
Nice.
But Kristen Howell actually taught me everything I know. I was her student teacher. Oh, and now I'm working at GYSTC in Winterville, right near Athens is where I'm at.
Did y'all know you were gonna be in the same group or session?
Yeah, we had emailed.
You
a little
worked
bit.
it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
he was an amazing student teacher and middle school teacher. All the teaching Will Dodd does is amazing.
Great.
Well, same about Kristen Howell for sure.
Thanks, Dodd.
It's nice. I'm working with several of my former students who were my former student teachers who are now my colleagues. And I tell them all the time, call me Elizabeth, but they're like, no, that's weird. You're Miss Proctor. So it's so
You never
nice.
outgrow it.
No, you don't. So, but they set in like and they like to say, like, they like to tell on me whatever, because whatever. Tough. All right. Let's see who, I don't know. Jenna, would you like to go? Jenna's wearing her safety glasses. Jenna, you look so good.
Yeah, I'm a total nerd like that. I thought about putting my lab coat on, which is on my dining room chair over there. So I am working for GYSTC in the state office.
You froze.
Oh no.
Jenna's frozen. But it's a good shot. She's got her safety glasses on.
Looking serious.
Yeah, you look so serious. All right, Jenna, we'll come back to you, but you froze. All right, Pam, I see you've been, I saw Pam's pipette. She is pipetting.
I have been. My name is Pamela Parks. I am with the GYSTC as well. I have retired from the classroom and working for GYSTC. I taught middle school the first 16 years, I guess, and then worked for GYSTC for about 4 years, and then went back and did gifted science with third, fourth, and fifth graders.
Are y'all all GYSTC?
There's like 3 of us that are not.
Kristen?
The ones with the backgrounds.
Well, Pam said she is, and she doesn't have a background. She's snuck in.
I took mine off because you can't see the pipettes and all.
You're breaking a huge rule. Pam's breaking a huge rule. We never hold our pipettes down. Liquid can go down here.
There you go.
It's all right. It's all right, Pam. And I definitely would start with colored water on any time I work with a kid. Colored water is the way to go. It's cheap. Oh, if you want to impress a principal too, I the kids know where the colored water is, and principal comes in, we look really busy, really fast. And one time I had a group that got the yellow colored water, and they said they were doing urine samples. And I was like, y'all too much. Y'all are just too much. So, but I go along with it. Got to be team player. All right, Britain. Tell us, he's not GYTC or GYSTC.
All right, Jenna. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
so that was weird. It froze on my end too, and then it like kicked me out of the meeting. So it was weird.
I would say I would miss you, but I didn't know you got kicked out.
That was weird.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back to reality. So I have 10 years experience in upper elementary, third, fourth, and fifth. This last year I was virtual, fourth grade. So that was a little bit of a experience. And I just started working for the GYSTC in January. So I decided to take that plunge because science has always been a passion of mine. So I wanted to do something a little bit different.
Nice. And did you say second grade?
Third, fourth, and fifth. So
Third,
upper
fourth,
elementary, coached science Olympiad, done a bunch of things like that. So
we are very small town, and I work a lot with the elementary school kids. So that is a high energy job for sure.
It's exhausting.
Yes. And we haven't this year. We usually bus them over here for science days, and they can put like 60 kids on a bus. They just keep coming, and you're like, surely there's no more on that bus.
Yeah, it's kind of like the clown car thing where they just keep coming out. Yeah.
Because my students are in charge on those days, and their eyes are popping out of their head. They're like, and we let our elementary kids use the expensive pipettes. They are good with these. My high school kids sitting next to them, second, third grader can pick this up and go. I promise you, I've seen it a million times. All right, Britain, welcome.
I am not with GYSTC.
Good. Me neither.
I worked 3 years as a life science teacher, and this is my first year at Barrow Arts and Sciences Academy, which is a new school. And I'm actually teaching 8th grade physical science this year. So this is my first year in physical science. Okay,
very good. Well, you again, physical science will come up in the third session pretty heavy. I think you'll like the physical science activities. Now everybody likes pipetting because that's all we see on TV right now. The kids think they're doing something serious.
Yeah.
And look at Valerie. I said, y'all gonna pipette? She was like, no. She cannot stop. See you. All right. Let's see. Oh, Robert. Robert was the first one in the session.
Okay. I taught at the high school level for 12 years. The last year I was principal. They moved me to the central office. I was at the central office for 28 years. Dealt with board policies, facilities, testing, Title I federal programs. Retired after 40 years. Been at Highlands. I taught Highlands now for about 6 years, while also teaching. Taught at Piedmont College, State University of West Georgia. I've been Edwagistic now on my second time around for 2 years. So I'm a retread.
I love it. I graduated from West Georgia. I love West Georgia. I know Piedmont College puts out some good teachers. So
Yeah, I was listening to Rebecca. She graduated from Barry. My undergraduate was Barry, then West Georgia, then Jack State, Georgia State. The final finished up at Alabama.
yep. You made me a little nervous. I'm not supposed to deal with principals at 6 o'clock at night. I mean, that's a little much. So we'll mind our manners. Robert's here.
That was a different lifetime ago.
Woo! I have good administration, but they are principals. So sorry about the little urine joke, but we did do that.
Well,
And
urine in mine, that's okay.
yeah, we do sometimes put on a little show, but they'll get out the centrifuge, they spin stuff down, they act like they're doing a million things, and they're not. We couldn't fool Megan though. When Megan came in, she knew what we were doing. So we didn't try to fool you, Megan.
But you don't need to put on a show for me.
Yeah, we did. We were gram staining, I think, or streaking bacteria. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were grandstanding.
Yeah, we
Specific
were.
gravity gives that away too.
What does?
Specific gravity.
Were you a
Get to a
physics?
ball.
Were you a physics? Physics? Did you teach physics?
Chemistry, physics, and biology.
I was guessing physics. You got that physics look. They're analytical. So yeah.
I like physics a lot.
Yep. Well, I'm glad I guessed correctly. All right, we're down to Aaron. Aaron, I think you're the last. No, we got Kyle on here.
Kyle hasn't gone either,
Okay.
right?
Yep. So Aaron.
Yes, I work with GYSTC also. I've been doing this for 8 years. But before that, I taught first and third grade. So I was in the early elementary grades. And yes, they require a lot of energy. So
One time I went to first grade, I thought it'd be good to measure speed with balloons and straws. Worst idea I've ever had. Balloons were everywhere. Bad idea. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. We don't know if you've been Pipette or not. You've been top secret.
Secret Kyle.
Secret Kyle.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've got my kids, and there's chaos in the background, but they're
I
gone for
get
a
it.
moment. So.
I get it.
But so I teach in Bainbridge High School right now, but also taught middle school and elementary school. Right now I'm doing chemistry and AP chemistry, but my degree, what I hope to teach the most biology, but it's not working out right now. But no, I love chemistry too.
You were breaking up for me, but I got that you are a high school teacher and you're mostly chemistry. Is that thumbs up? That sounds right.
Yes, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Me as well.
Yeah, you're.
Rural Georgia.
When I go home and I'm at conferences, I have to turn my camera off or I can't feed. So I have to just sometimes go dark just so that I can get more bandwidth. So so we get it, Kyle, and kids, we get it. My kids are 18 and 19 and 17. So they're gonna get mad that I'm on the internet. That's about it.
So, and then
okay,
Kyle,
so I'm going to show you.
I was just going to add, Kyle,
yeah, Kyle
also teaches AP Bio down there. So we just sent some supplies from the equipment depot so that his class could do a lab with Danimer Scientific. So yeah, happy to support everybody.
Yeah, really awesome.
Yeah,
and I don't know if did you get to talk? Do you want to kind of introduce yourself, or I think
sure.
Everybody might, I don't know.
Yeah,
Megan.
well, I can. So I am Megan Heafy. My background, I have a bachelor's in biology. I taught high school for 9 years. I did chemistry, biology, AP biology, and then got gifted certified in the last couple of years. Then I went back, got a master's in bio. I met Maria, who is now the CEO of CGHI, and she said, we have an opening for teacher training. So I am happy to work with you guys and support you. So I run our equipment depot, and I will talk more about that next week, but feel free to reach out if there's anything that we can help with. If it's finding an activity, finding the equipment for the activity, whatever you need, we will try to help.
And she's not lying. So Megan, she'll come to your room. There's wonderful opportunities with Georgia Bio. So I'm going to move over here. I hope I don't make y'all dizzy for a second and show you some of the answers. When you finish, there's my camera. Let me move the camera into the light. Let's see. Nope.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, let me try. When you finish, and it spells DNA. And the kids sometimes have a hard time seeing it. They have to face it. I can have kids that are finished for 10, 15 minutes and not know what it says. So that might be a little bit better here. Let's see if that helps.
Yeah, just drag it back and forth.
Yeah, DNA. You actually have two sets of directions. The other one is just really just different colors. It's the same. So I don't know which one you're doing, but they both say DNA and the colors are kind of changing. So you're going to get the same results for both of them.
I think ours has like green, purple, and orange.
Yeah, I feel like this one's yours.
That looks, yeah, that might be, maybe.
When you show it vertical, it makes it a lot easier to see.
Like this one?
Other way.
Not horizontal, vertical. When you show it vertical, that's easy to see. Yeah, horizontal is not, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and then if you look on the answer key, one of the things that you had the DNA at the top on the answer key. So I don't know if I would show that one to the kids, but in one of your books it had the answer. The other thing that's important is a white piece of paper is very helpful if you're on a black lab table. Black lab tables are not as clear as a white piece of paper. The other thing is, I'm not kidding, like this takes a second for the kids to do, like, and they get all like, this hurts my thumb, no whine about it. Evaporation is an issue with the air conditioning and the heat in your classroom. So a lot of times I'll tell kids to cover it up and put their name on top of their plate when they leave if they're not finished. So they will almost evaporate out overnight. So a piece of paper on top is helpful. It also is helpful to cover up the answers if you've got some kids that, are finished or in different points of progress. This is an activity that I have used as like an anchor activity. It's not something I do whole group. I have enough pipettes to do whole group, but it's something kind of like, because it's like a menu of activities in my room because equipment is so limited that I might have a group doing this and another group doing that. And this is one of those activities that can sit, and if you have limited pipettes, they can do. But you can also use activity on a disposable pipette. These are cheap. These are $10 a piece, and they are set volume fixed volume micro pipettes, and they work the same way. You just put a tip on it. So if the big $70 gig is not something you want to do, some of these are really good, and they have the fixed volume on them. So these are cheaper, available from a lot of places, and I'm starting to think that somebody could 3D print this joker. I don't know. There's not much in it. There's not much going on here, but set volume micro pipettes are fixed.
If anybody could do it, Will Dodd could do it.
Will.
That's what I was going to say. Will Dodd can do it.
Will, this is your project. We're not paying you until you do this. I'm sorry.
It may already be online. Is that disposable pipette?
Oh, no, fixed volume pipette.
Fixed volume pipette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll look for it because it may already be designed.
Oh, did I miss people?
Think of a volumetric flask. Think of a volumetric pipette.
Who are all these new people? Did I miss y'all in
Elizabeth.
introductions?
So no, Trisha's group is coming over, so they had some technical difficulties. And if you could spend the last few minutes going over the pipetting activity again with the well plate, they would appreciate it.
Yes. Can I finish showing my art real
Yeah,
quick?
show your art.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen and let's see. Yep, share and welcome Trisha's group. So this is the activity that we are painstakingly going through, and the answer key is already up. It spells DNA. So we'll come back to that. That's what Megan just asked me to go through, and that's what our group is eagerly pipetting. But also for fun, let's see. Also for fun, you've got these grids, and I've never done these before. When Georgia Bio sent me these things, I started looking on the website, like, you know, what do they have that comes with this micro pipette? Because every company does like cool stuff with their micro pipette, and they have these, and they go in Petri dishes. And I'm going to move my camera over here. The first one, design number 1, I think is an alligator, but y'all, and it dried out overnight. Let's see. The kid did yesterday. Help me out here, principal. Does that
really
look
hard
good?
to see.
Yeah, it dried out. That was yesterday, but here's the chicken. They did the chicken today. I'm pretty sure that's a chicken.
Looks like it.
Does that look like a chicken to y'all?
I don't see what y'all are seeing.
I see the two little eyeballs.
So for those who are coming in, it's the one called Proctor Camera. So if you go to gallery view, you can pin that one so that you see it if you were in speaker view.
I think that one's a chicken. When you look here, the kid slides the plate, and I have a colorblind lab intern, and when I asked him to do this, I said, "You're not making a lot of progress. You should be going faster." He's like, "Ms. Proctor, remember I'm colorblind." I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." This activity he could do because you slide from blue, then you slide to yellow, then you slide to red. You slide the plate empty. So that was neat. Next one on the other side is Planet Earth. And so the kids drop the Earth. And so this one was supposed to be Planet Earth. And you can see the patterns underneath it. And then the next one was supposed to be a fish. Oh gosh, look what I just did. I blurred it. So apparently you gotta be really careful with these. So Esteban's gonna be upset with me tomorrow. So anyway, sorry, Esteban's Earth is over. And then this was a fishbowl. But these are quicker activities. Found these to be a lot quicker. And then the kids measuring out 4 microliters and 10 microliters, and they're putting a dot. And these Petri dishes might be easier to come by than a well plate. I have lots of well plates in my room, but you might not have well plates in your room. And Petri dishes seem to be floating in every science area. So this activity you might find is faster and easier for you to do. And then there's one where they do their own, like they have a grid online that says create your own. And I put the link to it in my PowerPoint. All right, so now we can go back and catch up Trisha's group for micro pipetting.
Well, so sorry, I misinterpreted. So if you could just show them the final result, because Trisha talked them through the whole thing.
Oh, here you go, final result. One of the things that we said is that it's best to put it on white paper, and it spells DNA. So I don't know if y'all can see that. Yes? Y'all see the DNA? And then 2 in your book, and the only difference is color. That's the only difference you have is color on the 2 sheets that you have. And they spelled DNA. And the tip that I gave my group was immediately rinse it out and wash it so you don't see the same plate a whole bunch of times. And I also do this as a station that you have to get it done by the end of the week or something. And the kids will a lot of times store them in my room because evaporation is a problem, with paper on top and their name written on top. And this activity where y'all can't see the alligator, but I'm pretty sure that's an alligator. This was done 24 hours ago. It was done yesterday. And even with the lid on it, it dried out pretty good. So I don't know how long these will stay. This one will stay a long time with a piece of paper on top of it. Okay. So is that help with Trisha's group?
I think so.
Okay. I also put in the PowerPoint, if you want to learn more, there's a manual that comes with your micro pipette, and there's a 5-minute video. And all the clip art that I put in this is from that video. I just took screenshots of the video. So I would have kids, if this is what I had in my room, the kids would be watching that video. But I have a different pipette in my room. So the kids watch a video about my pipette, and then I've shared with you, make a copy. If you want a copy of my quiz, here's the quiz that I do in Google Forms. I'll share the PowerPoint at the end if you want me to, but that's what I do to assess my kids. The other thing I do to assess my kids, y'all did your lab safety, and I did not know about the lab safety from North Carolina, and I thought it was great. But this is the same place, like the same thing that you did your lab safety agreement. They have a virtual microscope lab that they do, and they don't have a worksheet that goes with it, so I made a worksheet and I've put it, because I've Google Forms, it's on PDF, and I made a teacher key. And at the very end, just like y'all had to send your certificate to Megan that you did the lab safety, I had a certificate, and I did really poorly. I scored a 2%. So the challenge for my kids is, can you beat your teacher and upload your certificates? They do this sheet. So if you have kids at home or you don't have a class set of micro pipettes, this is a virtual way to do it. And they go into other types of pipetting too, which is also serological pipetting. They do a whole bunch. And they define the jobs with it. And somebody comes in and assesses them and talks about percent error. So one of the activities that I'd like to do with my kids is percent error. Before we pipette, we want to see if we're any good at it. I'm going to move y'all back over here to where I have all my stuff. So I typed this worksheet last night, and I typed it for y'all. It is not a student view worksheet. You could easily make it, and when you download, if you want to download it, you can make your own editable. But what I was saying, so we've all pipetted. You can have any type of container. You can do a centrifuge tube, or you can do a film canister. They still sell these on Amazon. The kids know what these are. You can do a conical tube, or you could do a medicine that like if you keep your old medicine bottles, you can do any kind of container. You just need to have a lid on it. Then you can do any kind of pipette you want to use. You can use a disposable pipette. These things right here, you can use the fixed volume that Will's going to print all of us a class set. You can use an adjustable micro pipette is what you've got, and it adjusts because the window. Or you know what? You can use a straw. We've all done it at McDonald's. We've all done it. So you can get a medicine cup and a straw. Then you need a scale, because you need to figure out if you're any good at pipetting. I did it last night. I used this scale. I know y'all got these. I think every school in America's got one of these. They're in the closet. So you can use this kind of scale. This is, I tried it on this one. It works. This sells at Carolina for $15. So if you need to do the PO route, these are cheap and it goes down. This will work just fine. And you can actually Google these on Amazon, and you call pocket scales or digital scales, and they're ranging from $10 to $15. Yeah. Or you can get a really fancy scale, and I got the fancy scales. So so all you need is you need something to put the water in, and you need something to get the mass of the water. And then you get some colored water. Then I have a few short instructions, and again, this is not for students. This was for y'all. Like, get some materials, and then you put it in the tube. So you take the mass of the empty tube, put whatever mass you're going to measure in there, and 1 gram equals 1 milliliter. So if I measure half a milliliter, then I should get half a gram. And if I put it into this formula up here, I can get my percent error calculation, and the standard acceptable error is 10 or less. So it might be kind of fun. I've never done it with a straw, but I wonder if a kid could maybe figure out how to do it with a straw, because if they're using a scale, they should be able to know how much they put in there. Anyway, just an idea. I can share my bigger lab with this, but it's with the more advanced equipment. Like it's got a lot of, I give the kids a lot of different numbers to do inside of two. So that's an activity. And then the last question I had for y'all been pipetting tonight, is what's your personality? Let's look at your boxes. Can we see your boxes? Show those boxes. I'll stop sharing. Let's see your boxes. Show them. Just show me your pipette, your box that you've been stabbing.
Or take a picture and share it on GroupMe.
Yeah, share it on the GroupMe.
Right,
Your tip box.
Yeah, show your tip box.
So close the lid and hold it. Oh, the GYSTC thing says that's too much like the background.
Oh.
Well, here's a research student's
No.
box that they left. Okay, so let's go look at their personality. So I'm going to hit share screen again, and then hit share. And kids love this too. They think it's hysterical. So I'm going to say that this kid is the wild card for sure. They're just randomly. Oh, Meg, we don't use the word stab. What word did you say?
Tap.
Megan says tap. Miss Proctor says stab. Okay.
They take stabby too seriously. So
you're too serious. All right. So this kid's a wild card. And then my favorite one is the compulsive one. And I know who the compulsive one in this meeting is, but I'm not going to call her name, but I know her. And she would refill as she goes. Like there would never be this ever. This would be terrible. And then I love the slacker. And you've all got the slacker in your classroom where they only did one pipette. That's it. They just got one tip. Then you got the overachievers, predictable, and then you got your artists. So anyway, just kind of fun. Thing that you can do with your leftovers is tip art. I thought this was fun. You can take those tips and form some art with them. Okay. The last thing I had is before we dismiss is to make sure you sign your contract, make sure you send Megan that you've passed your safety test to join the GroupMe. And then I was vague on this on purpose. You do need to put the alcohol in the refrigerator.
Freezer, okay. Please.
Or freezer. Freezer's
as cold as you can get it.
Cold alcohol. And you need to have a source, so put warm water. You need to be ready to use warm water next week. So if that's a crock pot or a hot plate or a sink or I don't know, coffee pots make really good hot water. Those old coffee pots you don't want, those are great instant hot water pots. So you need to have hot water and alcohol next week. And I'm going to hit stop share. And I'll put, Megan, do you just want me to put my PowerPoint in the shared folder?
Email it to me. I think.
Okay, email it to you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where so my PowerPoint will be available for those of you that want it and want to hack some of my stuff. So anybody got any questions?
I have a question. It's just me. It's again a technique question.
Okay.
But when I put it on a really small volume, like 0.2.
Oh, you can't do 0.2.
Oh, you can't?
No.
But doesn't it say it in the thing?
I'm pretty sure yours goes to 2.
Yeah, it's
in
2
the
to
20.
Yeah. So at the top is the range, and
right.
You're
on the 20.
Yeah. So 2 to 20. 2's your lowest.
Oh, so when it says 0.2 ml,
it might be 0.2 milliliters.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the units, and then they can do the conversions to get to the 200 microliters.
Because this is micro. Okay.
Yes.
That was me being, it's the end of the day with 7th graders.
I get you, but I do think I did not say that in my presentation. I spent so much time on over dialing, I didn't talk about under dialing.
When you go to the lower numbers, is it harder to feel the first and second click?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the kids, so I can tell you've been pipetting. Those are the kinds of conversations you have with kids, and that's how you can trick that slacker. Like you can ask them those kinds of questions, and you're like, you didn't even use this thing.
Okay.
You don't even know.
And when you're doing the colors thing, like, are you supposed to like dispose of the tip every time you do another pipette?
I do not.
One per color?
I do not. We're a rural school, and I tell them that they can reuse those tips. And end of the period, I get a return to empty them out, wash them, and then we keep them for colored
I don't
water.
mean like get rid of. I mean like
But
pop
you
it
can
off
mix-
of the thing.
You can mix the colors. I let the kids pop off once.
Okay.
Put safety glasses on, and we
Okay.
aim fire, and I'm usually a good target. But you know, and then I tell them they can reuse their pipettes. That I'm not judging really color.
Okay. Thank you. I
Yeah,
really
and
appreciate everything you've taught us.
Yeah, if you blow it out, you shouldn't have any color left. And color is a good visual inspection to where did you use the micro pipette correctly? Did you go to the second stop? If it didn't go to the second stop, then there's still going to be residual in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Really good question. You're welcome. Anybody else have a question?
So I'll jump in here, and next week on Tuesday, so all of these meetings are on Wednesdays, but next week on Tuesday, we'll be offering a review and a makeup for this for anybody who might be joining this training late. But for the group that just came over from Trisha's side, I'm really sorry for the technical difficulties, but if you'd like to join that, we'll go through right from the beginning again, and you'll have an opportunity. So if you want to even join for 20 minutes or a half hour, you're welcome to do that. And we'll send that invite out to everybody, but it'll be optional.
Well, I enjoyed my evening with y'all, and I look forward to next week. And I'm available through email, but I'm going to warn you, if you email me, you're not going to get a short response. You're going to get like this. So that's just I cannot help it.
I mean, same. So that's all you'll get.
So please email and reach out, because my favorite thing about this is the network of teachers. Like when Trisha and Stan and I got together, we're talking about how to clean columns. Like, we want to reuse these things. How do you clean columns? So I really do like to get to know people and network with people. So please reach out to me. And I enjoyed teaching some of you tonight, and those of you that dropped in. Hiya.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yep.
So you're welcome to jump off. Megan and I are going to stay on for until anybody else has any questions, but thanks, you guys. Bye.